that school, I came back and then I became part of the ambassadors football uh, ministries. So this is where I met Michael because they just came in from South Africa. So then Ben was like, hey, meet Michael and Jolene. It was me and Aya. So we started trying to see how we can all journey together with Michael. So Michael said what's the best days where we can meet. So I think the first thing was to discover ourselves and get journey together to know each other. I think we were all sharing our stories in between there and him listening to our stories and hearing how this God is placed in our hearts in South Africa, and then how we can help most of the communities in there. So we are just sharing stories, and then from there we do a Bible discovery groups. We just there's two guys from South Africa and one guy from Netherlands, and then we just combining all stories because he has a story, and then we had a story, and then we could see how God has worked in our stories, and then what is God has wants us to do within our stories. Man, when Michael shared a lot, and then he told me he was working with a couple of young guys from Capricorn and Overcome, and he would share, and then said these guys they say language they don't understand. They say I remember Michael saying I think I've invested what God has invested in me, but I think this the level and the season where they at, I cannot step into that. And I'm praying to God that who can step into that. And as we're sharing stories, he find the the connecting point of our story with these guys. And then he said, like guys, can you come and help me with these gents? Can you come and help me to help with these guys? As you are stepping so we came once and then he saw the connecting point, how they connect in terms of language, in terms of the stories, in terms of everything. And then he felt like this is the perfect plan. And then our next TBS, he comes in, he feels like he wants to move a little bit backwards because he feels like the season now. And then the season where Michael was is the season where where his father was very sick, he wanted to focus on his family. I think all of that, God orchestrated a lot. In a short, we started to step into this young man's life, and then we step into these guys. For them, it was a very strange at the beginning because they were used to Michael, they used to chat, and then now stepping in, I told Michael, we have to give this a little bit of time. So giving it a little bit of time, we stepped in and mentor and coach and continue where he stepped left off. Um, I told that the way Dumi sees leadership in me, I see a leadership also in these guys, and then the way I was taken to transfer to be in a space where I could grow in a leadership, then this is what I also could do um, to other people as well. So when I was joining with these guys during the DBS, everything Wednesday, sharing life together, was looking and see who can be the next person here, who can be the person of peace here, who can actually start, next coach, who can start this ministry. I am from Kailicha, I am black, but they are more in the community. I felt like they would be more understandable if someone from that community can work. So
Explain a bit, Sia. So you are coming from Kailicha, they are coming from Capricorn, Overcome, but you have the same. You come out the same. You Kosa, so you come out the same background, but you still come from a different community. Explain a bit how that works in South Africa.
Yeah, so we are in a township community, is different one. So they are in a township community in a Capricorn and Overcast. So I am from Kailicha. So it's like 20 minutes away from here. So I am in the same. The background is closer. I'm older than them, so some of them they are closer. So I understand the culture. I understand the language. I understand what they're going through. I understand the season where they are, so they can. So at some stage they will have to be going through a process of being a man. So I understand. I've been there. I've done that. So understanding that.
That's the phase in between. Sorry, that's the phase when they were asking me questions about the process of a boy going to a man. That was for me. We call it far from our bed show. So it was not close to my culture. So explain a bit which phase the boys are now. with you?
Yeah, so when they are 18, so they're reaching 18, 19, this is the phase where in my culture they have to go through a process of being a man, from boy to a man. So they were very young. I said, Michael, so this is a little bit said in the next 2 years I won't be able to answer this question. I won't be able to be with them in this. So this is where I stepped in and helped them in how do we process this part in terms of this. So it was much more helpful for them as I stepped into that. So they went to they go through the initiation so that they can be a man. But the choices make and how that has been done, so how do we help and support them? Because when you do that, you need to have a father around you. So if you don't have a father or father figure, then it becomes
Mm,
horrible or decision may be wrong. So then this is where I felt needed to step in into that. So it was a very timing for me to step into that and be with them and share a lot of
mm,
wisdom and encouragement, and also how God view this, and then how God wants us to be in this phase, and then also how God view a manhood, and also how culture versus how culture view a manhood. So we had to go through stages like that. So as a as we going on and then to understand and see each other and understanding and everything. So then I saw this guy, the leadership, because this is what it is. So two of them, which is Siyama and Lolwetu.
yeah,
I said I felt a little bit the Lord is showing me that I could do whatever was done to me. Uh,
yeah.
to help and expand their leadership, to let them in a space where they could grow in a
Same
more
path.
large, same path that I did. Uh, so they were leaders in my DBS. So if they come, they bring the most of the guys from the community. If they don't come, not many people coming. So
Yeah.
there's these people, they have a lot of influence in there, and I don't have much influence on them on the community, but I can have an influence in them so that they can influence the community. Get
Yes.
that concept right. So I can help disable them so they can find people that they can be disabled. So now they are enrolling to an East Mountain, which is I did it in 2018. So way back. So that's where I been shaped and grown into understanding the ministry, and also how I grew up with understanding what God has in my life, and having somebody guiding and having a mentorship along you to help you into that journey. So I sense a lot that that is needed from them. That is needed in this stage of their lives in terms of decision making. So I have contacted them before. I said, guys, I want you to be in this space because I feel like God has called you to be here. So the excitement in that, and then they patiently waiting into that spot. They are there now. Couple of probably now it's like 3 to 4 months. They've
Yeah.
been there, and they growing very well. I
Mm,
was very encouraged to
mm,
see how these people are growing every time I'm there. A good
mm,
testimony comes out in how God has shaped them and how God has seen that.
mm,
Just a little bit of sharing. I was last week Friday. I was talking not 2 weeks back. I was talking to CM. The stuff they do in terms of growing as a Lord and in the Lord, and also growing in the ministry. What God
mm,
is about to do in their lives. He sees that he sees that actually happening in his community.
mm,
He told me that there are people there are people now, young kids in his community, they can't study. They are not doing well at school. And
mm,
where he's doing the ministry, he's saying he's helping people with after school program and also
mm,
with sport. So,
mm,
so actually, this God is stirring a lot of things in their hearts so that they could come back and use it in their communities. This is what has happened to me in the next many years back. When I stepped in, I see that many people they don't have a father. They don't have a father
yeah.
figure, and then that was stirred in my life. God
It's
used my
hard.
story to touch and going back. So also God used my story to touch these young men so that they can be a change in their community and
Yeah,
change in their hearts and the change in their community as well. Okay.
because that is, I think, the biggest problem, right, in South Africa. young boys growing up without a father, physical, emotional. They can be in the home, but they are not really a father figure. That's the biggest problem, right, in South Africa.
Hmm. So there's a like probably if you look at the statistics, probably we are on 95% of the people
Mm,
homes without the father. So
no,
if they are at home, there's no father. If there's a father, the father is about emotionally absent. So that's a huge, and that causes a lot of violence, causes a lot of anger in many young men. That anger integrated go into the violence as well. That's we see the gang fights and everything because there is no father, there's no one someone saying you can do this right, this is wrong. So they don't know what is wrong and what is right. They are living in a life where it feels like I can fit in, where it feels like I can be here, where it
no,
feels like this is they don't know if this is right and this is wrong.
no,
So as we stepping in to help these gentlemen and stepping in to help these people, this is a very, very critical things in South Africa. And then if you are trying to disciple at least one or two people who
no,
they can disciple others in the community, then they can disciple others. So when I infect everyone so that they can start to own up being a father and also own up to have in their future that they can have a home where they could have being a father, and then they can grow up in a home where they could be the father. Then they have a wife. Then the child grew up in a home where
no,
they could be the parents, both parents. This is what God intends to
yeah,
do. This is what God intends He wanted to see in the communities. But also, an enemy is breaking up every day. So this is the life we do. This is the work we're doing here, and then this is the impact we do here to make disciples in all nations. We're making sure that we are making disciples in all nations by journeying with players, with people, young men, so that they can grow in the Lord, but also they have to disciple other people. Very
no,
critical. Because people you invest with them, but they don't invest in other people. So we want people, we invest in them, we want them to invest also to the other people so that it can grow a chain where it can infiltrate to everyone in the communities.
yeah. What a story, Sia. So, so I'm so happy that I met you, and it was through ambassadors. Ben was introducing us to each other. But if I listen to
Mhm.
this story, then I'm so happy that we did this because I think for people to hear these stories, why it's so important to do this work in the communities there in South Africa. Um, yeah, with a lot of young people who are raising up without a father figure in their home, and sort of they need to figure it out themselves, and they
Mhm.
really need mentors like you. And yeah, I'm so happy that you shared your story and that you are open to it because yeah, if I listen to it, how it started, it's also really painful. But I'm so happy that the Lord brought people like mentors, father figures in your life, and um, yeah, what the enemy wants to break down there in the communities with these absent fathers. Yeah, the Lord wants to use it because He is the perfect Father, and yeah, He worked really closely in your life, and I see that He's working through you also now to the next generation. So thank you, man, for sharing, and I'm so happy that I'm your friend and have the privilege to be your friend, and
Mhm.
yeah, so great to journey together. So thank you, Shia, for sharing today. And I think it's going to be really helpful for a lot of people, not only there in South Africa, but I think worldwide, because I don't think it's the only problem in South Africa. I think it's a much bigger problem. And I also see it here in the Netherlands. So yeah.
Mhm. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to my story and being
Yeah.
part of my story. You and Jolene, and
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah. Keep going, my friend. And
Yeah.
God bless you.
Thank you
See
so
you,
much.
brother. I'm gonna close
See
this
you.
down. See you. See you.